Oh man, I got my first negative comment about the arch that I use in my bench press. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, to be honest with you. Uh, I thought it would be kind of an interesting topic to discuss. So, to bench with an arch or not to bench with an arch? Let's discuss it. So here in this clip, I'm benching 315 for a set of 4. My lovely wife is spotting for me. I got 3 good presses. Looks like I need to work on leg drive a little bit. And then for the 4th press, looks like my butt comes off the bench a little bit, which is actually the bigger concern. Because if my butt comes off the bench at any point during the lift in competition, it's red lighted and the lift doesn't count. YouTube is very bro scientific when it comes to lifting advice, and you get a lot of unsolicited advice from people that have mediocre physiques and they don't understand the sport of powerlifting. So there's a couple things that we consider when we're getting on the platform. One, is it legal in competition? Can you do it? Is it in the rules? And it is. You can use that arch to shorten your range of motion. It puts your shoulders in a stronger position, so it alleviates shoulder issues with flat benching. A lot of people think that it's bad for your back, but if you've ever done yoga, you ever been in a cobra pose, it actually is not harmful to your back in any way. I've never heard of anybody injuring their back from using an arch. Never gonna happen, never happened, never will happen. Unless they do something, that's incorrect. I mean, I guess there's always a chance that you could injure yourself, but for older guys like me who have had shoulder issues in the past, it's actually a safer way to bench. And more importantly, it's something that I've worked very hard to learn how to do. It was a skill that I've had to cultivate over a long period of time. So, who taught me this arch? I don't know, man. I used to train at this place called Iron Addicts here in Las Vegas. It's a gym that's owned by C.T. Fletcher, and I used to train under a gentleman named Alan Ayerts, Dan Martin, Bonnie Ayerts, all world record, Hall of Fame USPA lifters. You know who else used to train at our gym? Eric Spoto. He benched with an arch, believe it or not, all 400 pounds of him. And now his arch wasn't as pronounced, and it's hard to say it would be with as large as he is, but he used to actually bench with a considerable arch. And you know what? At the time, he was the strongest raw bencher in history. I think he put up like 733 pounds, and that's been broken since then. I think that puts him as 2nd or 3rd all-time on the raw bench press. And you know what? If a guy like that's going to use an arch, I would dare you to go to him and say that it doesn't count. All that aside, though, it kind of makes me wonder, like, where the argument comes from. And I think I know where. Like, there's some people in powerlifting that have such pronounced arches that their range of motion is like 2 inches, and it actually looks ridiculous. It doesn't look like a bench press. I think there is a point where it's just silly. You're not even doing the exercise at a certain point. But then again, it comes back to the argument, is it in the rules? Yeah. Is it legal? Yeah. So until they change the rules, why wouldn't you use any advantage that's afforded to you? Raw lifting says you can use wrist straps. You can't have the loops around your thumbs. You can wear a belt. You can wear knee sleeves. Why not use them? Everybody else that you're competing against is afforded the same advantages that you are. So if your goal is a 1 rep maximum to get the highest number that you can possibly get, you should take advantage of anything that you can legally. And I certainly am going to. and I'm going to train the way I compete. So when I'm doing hypertrophy work for bodybuilding, if my goal is to make my chest look better, I'm probably not going to use the legs to drive. I'm probably going to lay with a flat bench. As a matter of fact, I'm probably not even going to do flat bench. I'm going to focus a lot more on things like weighted dips and inclines and overhead presses and chest flies and all that good stuff. The flat bench to me is just an exercise I can completely eliminate. But if my goal is to compete, which it is, I'm going to train with the form that I use on the platform, and I'm going to try to do as much as I possibly can. So when somebody says something silly like benching for, numbers is ego lifting, that's the whole point of competing. The goal is how much can you get. You have 3 attempts to get as much as you possibly can. So that is precisely the reason why you're lifting. If you're trying to be a bodybuilder, I guess it just doesn't matter. But that brings me to my final point, and that is, like, we all have different motivations when we train. Some of us want to just be healthier. Some of us just want to look a little better. Some of us want to be as strong as we physically can be. Metrics of strength are different. What does strong mean? Does that mean that I can pick up 100 pounds and run 10 miles with it? Does it mean I can push a car off of a victim if there's an accident? Does it mean that I can knock somebody out with a single punch? Like, what is strength? For me, strength is being able to move as much weight as I possibly can in an attempt. Pick an exercise. But it's not the only measure of strength. There's so many different measures and metrics of strength and fitness. Powerlifting's a very small window of that. But that's what I'm focused on. That's my sport. That's what I compete in. And that's what I'm training to accomplish. I'm also interested in other barbell sports like Olympic lifting and strongman and all sorts of different things that I don't compete in but would like to try out. And once I'm done with this upcoming competition, I might give those a shot. I do fart around with that stuff a lot in my garage, and I find it super interesting. I just love watching it on the internet. I don't know. I just thought I would touch on that. Like, what do you guys think of the really pronounced arches in powerlifting? I mean, obviously it's a very divisive topic, and there's a lot of bro scientists out there that think they have expert opinions, but they either don't really know about the sport, or they don't understand what they're looking at, or they've got some weird, skewed metric of manliness that for some reason requires you to be in a specific position to do a specific thing. Otherwise, it's not a real whatever. Squatting's another one. You guys will go in the gym and they'll put 4 or 5 plates on a bar and they don't hit parallel, and you get all sorts of venomous comments about how it's not a real squat. And I'm like, I agree, you should break parallel. I mean, if you want to get the most out of the exercise, you should be breaking parallel. But what do you mean when it's not a real squat? What is a squat? Squat's putting weight on your back and going up and down with it. It's a leg exercise. I get what they're saying. If you're going to try to show off that you're this badass that can squat 500 pounds, but you can't break parallel, why are you showing off to us? And you know what? Sometimes people get a little overzealous. I've done it before. I put some weight on my back and I hit a weight I've never hit before, and you're super excited about it, and then you put that video online, and it's just like, if you know you're going to get shit about it, and you can't have discourse about it, like if it's going to hurt your feelings, probably shouldn't post that stuff. But, in this instance, like, I actually enjoy the conversation because I think that there is valid points on both sides. I think, when I'm watching powerlifting videos and I see those extreme huge arches where, they're so contorted that, they've almost got their head up their butt, and by the time the bar touches their chest, they only have move an inch. To me, that's just silly. Like, that shouldn't be legal. But then talking to people that are in the organization who make the rules, now the rules are basically so you can have some kind of standards. They admit that some of the rules are arbitrary, but they hold people to them because without the rules, they don't have standards, and then it becomes too subjective to judge So they got to set rules. They got to stay within the rules, and the rules basically say as long as your shoulders and your butt and your feet are planted firmly and are not, and you don't leave the bench with any of those while you're doing the press, it's completely legal. So how is a judge going to measure if an arch is too big or too small? It's so subjective. What if it's a super skinny person? What if it's a super large person? They might have a bigger arch than what it looks like because they're so large. Take Eric Spoto. His arch is almost as pronounced as I am, but he's such an enormous dude that it doesn't look abnormal because his chest is so huge. So, he could almost be bending backwards and he would still look like he was flat on the bench. And then, we get back to like, what does that actually do for you? Like, what are the benefits of it? What are the negatives? The benefits are, as I said, shoulder health. It just keeps you can press more. You're in a stronger lifting position. The negatives are it doesn't look as cool. So it makes the bros angry. But I'm going to tell you right now, gentlemen, the bros on YouTube are not the ones that are going to be recording whether your lift is good or not. And they're certainly not going to be the one that are going to hand you that medal when you beat those records on competition day. So, you got to ask yourself, like, why are you lifting the way you're lifting, and who is it that you're trying to appease here? And I'm trying to appease the judges on competition day. So, if anything, if I can get my arch more pronounced, I might just do it.